Hello and welcome to this section of the TI-89 Calculator Tutor. In this section what we're going to do is continue drilling down the calc menu right here and doing some of these functions down here, number 6 and number 7, fmin and fmax. So we've already done differentiate, integrate, limits, sums, and products, and here we're doing number 6 and number 7 because they kind of go hand in hand. Basically what these functions do is they allow you to type a function of x in here, and we'll do it here in a second. And what the calculator will do, will try to go ahead and return to you the maximum of that function and the minimum of that function. All right, now we've already done some of this in the earlier part of the course. When we were in graph mode, we talked about how to do that in graph mode. In other words, earlier on I showed you how to graph a function and use the menu associated with graph mode to go in and find fmin and fmax. And you normally do that by providing a boundary. You kind of draw, some a lower limit and an upper limit on the screen of your graph, and then it'll search through the window and figure out what the max and min is there. So most of the time you're going to do this in graph mode, but the calculator does give you the ability to do it here. One thing I am going to tell you though is that these functions don't always provide the relative maximum and the relative minimum. They usually find the absolute maximums and the absolute minimum. So what I mean by that is if you've got humps, hills and valleys here in your function, if it's going up and down, generally this guy is going to find the absolute maximum and the absolute minimum and not just hunt around for these little relative max and relative min guys. So most of the time it's going to be better to graph the function and use the graphing capabilities. So it's sort of like, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but they do provide it, so we are going to go and explore it. So if you put fmin on the stack, number 6 here, it means find the minimum value of a function. So probably the easiest thing everybody can visualize is the function x squared. So you just type the function in, and you can I'm not going to graph it here for you because most people will know that that function comes down and touches the axis here and goes back up again. So you have to put the function in, but you have to put a comma and the value of x to search over, because this is a function of x and you're just telling it to hunt over the values of x and kind of go on from minus infinity to plus infinity in terms of x and figure out what the maximum of this function is. Well, if you're using fmax, in this case we're doing fmin, so it's going to be searching for the minimum value of the function. So when we hit enter, the calculator is going to scan across x and it's going to figure out that there's an absolute minimum that occurs at when x is equal to 0. So if you can visualize this graph here, it's a parabola centered right there in the middle of the xy axis. It comes down and it kisses the x-axis there, it just barely touches it, and it comes back up, and of course that minimum occurs at x is equal to 0. All right, so it's returning the x value of the minimum. That's what it's doing there. If you